Join us each Saturday for the Justice is Here podcast, an innovative, revolutionary podcast that speaks to justice for all party members across America. We'll speak to leadership, we'll speak to activists, and most of all, we want to hear your opinion. So if you're tired of the two-party system and how it doesn't work for you, tune into this podcast to learn how we can take back the justice that we deserve. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the 22nd episode of the Justice is Here podcast. I'm Tracy. I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves here in a second, but you guys pretty much know them because they've been on my show several times. I'm going to hit some announcements, and then I got one little change up that I want to do here, and then we will get started. First and most importantly, visit the Justice for All Party website at justiceforall.us. Justiceforall.us. One more time, the website is justiceforall.us. Remember to hit that subscribe button. We are at 378. Still haven't made it to past 400. I don't know what's wrong, but we're going to just keep pressing. 1,000 is our goal. So help us to get there. Hit that subscribe button. It literally costs nothing to do it. As always, help us to get 75 likes and 45 shares. Comment through this episode because we've got an interesting topic this evening. And of course, mark your calendar Saturday, August the 30th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us for the JFA Fundraising-A-Thon event. We will have special guests, entertainment, and learn how you can get involved in the party. We're going to have a great time. Speaking of that, if you play an instrument, or you're a singer, or you're a poet, or you have an unusual talent, we are still looking to fill a couple of little slots. And so we hope to have them all filled by next week. That's the deadline. So just remember, if you do have a talent and would love to be a part of the talent show, we would be glad to have you. And I'm going to briefly talk about the change up. So we will still do Justice for All. However, the first week of the month, I'll do a topic like I'm going to do tonight. We're going to talk about leaving the duopoly for good. And then the 2nd through the 5th Saturdays, we will have guests. We'll have guests each day, but we won't do a specific topic, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind. That's just a slight change up. And remember, I announced last week, and I gave the wrong date. I said the last podcast will be November the 22nd. That is actually incorrect. It's going to be December the 18th. December the 18th will be the last time before the show moves to Thursdays in 2026. Guys, I got all that stuff done. One more. Join us next week. I know this week is special because I got Paris and I got Tim. But next week, the entire convention committee will be here next week. All of us will be here. We're going to tell you some updates. We got a huge announcement, and I'm just like itching to tell it, but I'm going to wait till next week. So tune in next week to figure out what that announcement is. And Tim and Paris, how are you both doing today?
Doing well, Tracy. It's good to see you and Tim.
I'm living and breathing by the grace of God. I'm very happy about it.
Tell me about it. So I said the first Saturday is going to be dedicated to topics. And again, we're talking about leaving the duopoly. What frustrated us, what made us say, you know what, I've had enough of this. How you came to the Justice for All party, if you want to talk about that. But I always believe in looking back to look forward. So I don't know which one of you guys wants to get started first in terms of you know, your voting history or how it is that you decided, yeah, I'm going to leave. Not everybody at once.
Go ahead, Tim.
All right. Um, my first election that I voted for, this will give you an idea about my age. I voted for the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the Democratic primary. That was the second time he ran, if I'm not mistaken, which seemed to be the one that he was more successful in. Um, for the most part, growing up, the Democratic Party, as I understood it, was the party of the working people, of the regular people. That's what I was led to believe. The last time that I voted for the Democratic Party, to the best of my knowledge, was in 2008. Again, well, it was for the general, but I remember going to the polls with my twin 7-year-olds and holding them up so that we could take pictures of us with their little finger on the lever pulling, because that's how hopeful everybody was when Barack Obama first ran for president, and that was the time that we voted for them. From there, I had always been involved in activism work. Occupy Wall Street hit New York City in 2011, and I was involved with it somewhat tangentially. I did march with Dr. Cornel West to end mass incarceration at the time. Spoke out about police brutality at some of those rallies as well. And moving forward was working with a group called Occupy the Hood, which was specifically looking at addressing issues in low-income communities of color in urban areas. Fast forward to 2012, and I actually helped get a fellow Occupy activist on the ballot in the Democratic primary. That's as far as that particular campaign went. But we did have the Democratic Party actively trying to get him thrown off, and we overcame that, which is an experience I appreciate because I take it moving forward with independence. The experience understanding what it is to be attacked by the Democratic Party for trying to push forward populist ideas leaning towards the left. They were not being supported by the Democrats. 2016, we had the race stolen from Bernie. At that time, I voted for Dr. Jill Stein. In 2020, we again had things stolen from Bernie, and I voted for Mr. Howie Hawkins, if I'm not mistaken. And then comes 2024, and from the beginning of the year to date, I've been supportive of the Justice for All movement and Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Melina Abdullah's campaign. And here we are today. I don't see any benefits of either party. I do want to mention in the interim, there were times that I was registered as a Republican. I generally chose to register as a Democrat or Republican based upon what the majority registrations were in the area, because I felt that was the best opportunity to make a difference at the primary level, and you could still vote for whoever you want in the general election, as shown by my choices of the Green Party in 2016, in 2020, and then Dr. West in 2024. So I've abandoned the Democratic and the Republican Party. They seem to be the uniparty of war. I don't support war. I find it morally incomprehensible to support such a thing.
What about you, Paris?
I just wanted to kind of address what Timothy was saying at the end. Remember that great song, War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Right? And I'm
Say it
also,
again.
right? And I'm also reminded what Smedley said, war is a racket. If we had the people who started war actually be combatants in the war, we would have no war. And when you think about that on a very realistic and existential level, you begin to realize that the whole idea behind it being a racket, when the defense contractors are enriched and become more wealthy, right? Because war is profitable for them. Of course, it's at the expense of the proletariat, it's at the expense of whoever we're bombing or murdering in their own streets, nonetheless. I agree with you. The profiteering off of other people's misery and death is unconscionable. Now, talking about how I came to where I am today, three words: disillusionment, disappointment, and despair. I saw where this country had spiraled to the point to where in 2016, Donald Trump was the RNC nominee, and based on his history, based on what I knew about him, based on even what he said in the RNC convention where he talked about, I'm the only one who can fix this. If you understand history, and I know you talked about that earlier, Timothy, you'll understand Hitler used those very same words in Mein Kampf. I'm the only one who can fix Germany. So he mirrored not only that, but also Mussolini. He quoted Mussolini, I'd rather be a lion than a lamb. Those words resonated with me. I knew this wasn't politics as usual. We had long left, as bad as Nixon, Reaganomics, Clinton-ness policies were, especially to our community, and I'm speaking specifically about the African American community, what Donald Trump presented was far worse. And the reason I particularly use those names, Nixon, Reagan, and Clinton, because to your point earlier, it doesn't make any difference which party, they're both duplicitous. They're both dangerous. And it got to the point to where I realized I can't just stand by and watch this country or this empire in its twilight become what these people wanted it to be, at least without a fight. As Frederick Douglass said, power demands nothing, or power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. If I was just to sit, if I was just to play my part and just go pull the lever and hope for the best, understanding exactly what's at stake, then I am also complicit to their duplicity. And I refuse to do that. I could no longer just sit by and watch these things unravel right before my very eyes. I have to think about my children. I have to think about my grandchildren and their posterity, knowing that neither party had their best interest at heart. Getting back to Trump, anyone who voted for Trump, and I'll say this, in 2024 failed the open book test. We knew exactly who he was. He had a first term. He's been a public figure for decades. He's been a public official for at least 4 years. So we knew what we were getting into. And to still go in there and choose this person and now clutch your pearls after he's elected because of some of the things that he's introduced to our children, to our communities, to our society at large, to the world, right? And now we're looking at this supposed pedophile, right? Who is now introducing other pedophiles and other sexual abusers into the White House. He's giving them platform. He's giving them leverage. We saw just, what was it, yesterday or the day before, where he started this new commission that's going to address children. And who did he have on there but sexual predators? He's normalizing his behavior. And I shared with, I don't know who it was, I think it was Tracy and someone else. If Trump survives this latest scandal, it's over. We don't stop the fight because, as Dr. West says, we have to be prisoners of hope. Hope is what drives us, not optimism. I'm not very optimistic about what's going on or what I'm observing, but I am hopeful. That's why I'm engaged with the Justice for All Party on a regular basis, because I believe in what we're trying to strive for, what we're trying to do in this country. I believe that if someone's going to make a difference, it has to be us, and it has to be now. So that's why I engaged in the Justice for All Party. Actually, before it was ever formed, Tracy, you and I joined hands and hit the streets as we petitioned and got signatures for the petition to put Dr. West on the ballot in Indianapolis. Of course, that was a Herculean effort. We didn't quite make the number that we needed, but we still was able to get him on the ballot as a write-in candidate. So the work never ends. It is continuous, and that's why I choose to be where I am today.
I think for me, though, I have to always go back to when I was a little girl. My parents, like my mother, was not I was raised by a single parent. She was not a voter. She didn't talk about politics. She didn't do anything. So our introduction to politics was always, you can't trust them. How true was her words? I didn't realize till I got older. I started out when I was 18 years old, still in high school. I voted for Bill Clinton. Don't ask me why. I was 18. That's my excuse. That's my excuse. I was 18. We
We
got to
do have questions.
um they let us out of school early because if you were 18, you were still in high school, you got to take like half a day. So I was like, I'm voting. Um and I haven't missed an election since. Then after Clinton, there was no way I was going to vote for Gore. No way, absolutely not. It wasn't going to happen. So I voted, yes, audience, I voted for Ralph Nader on purpose. Ralph Nader is actually my introduction into breaking the duopoly. Um, and he's a real trailblazer who deserves props for what he's done in terms of presenting information in a way that makes sense. Because when I hear him talk, even now, it's like, oh, I get it. I get it. And I didn't tie what was going on in my own life to what choices that politicians were making. So after um, Nader, yeah, please forgive me. I voted for Obama and I did it twice. I still, the second time he ran, I was determined. I was going to vote for Jill Stein. I had it in my mind. I was going to vote for her. Got to the booth, voted for Obama anyway. Please, I don't know why I did. I think I know why I did it, but I'm not going to say it on the show because somebody will get mad. Somebody will get butt hurt. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably why I did it because he looks similar to me. I think that's the big reason why I just said, oh, okay, not realizing that he ordered drone strikes on American citizens, was responsible for um, the big bank bailout, was responsible for not closing Guantanamo Bay, didn't codify Roe v. Wade after running on saying that he was going to, like, I just ignored that. And I think after Obama, yeah, I did it again. Y'all forgive me again because I voted for Hillary. I voted for Hillary because this is where I'm getting to my point. I fell for the, well, if you don't vote for Hillary, you're going to get Trump. Well, I voted for Hillary, and guess what happened? We still got Trump. We still got Trump. And so I think it was then I was like, you know what? I don't like either one of these parties. I especially have disdain for the Democratic Party because the Republican Party, I literally don't care about them. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. To me, they're just MAGA. I know every Republican is not MAGA, but when I think Republican, I think MAGA. But the Democrats, I kept asking myself after Bernie got robbed, what is this party about? What have they achieved for me as a Black American besides the Voters' Rights Act and the Civil Rights and Affirmative Act? When I couldn't name anything, that's when I said, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done. I'm not going back. If the Democratic Party gets destroyed, boo-hoo, I'm going to throw a party. I'll bring the ribs. Somebody else bring the potato chips because I'm done. I'm so done. I'm never going back. This party's never going to change because they don't want to. I contend that Democrats lose elections on purpose. Because it's like you see, to Paris point, you see what Trump is doing. And what do? You make, you have tools to stop certain bills. You don't exercise any of those. Instead, you make speeches. The tools are right there, United States Senate. There were things you could have did to stop the big beautiful bill from passing, and you did not do it. Instead, you make what Cory Booker a 25-hour speech, literally saying nothing. And it's like this performance thing. So I'm gonna always contend that I don't think the Democrat, unlike the Democratic Party, the Justice for All Party, we actually want to win. We actually want to get in office, make a difference for the people. We're not running to just raise money. That's what I think the Democrats do. And it irks my last nerve. I can't stand it. It makes me sick. I'm like, y'all just sit here. Y'all want to lose so you can fundraise. You don't want to win. You don't want to govern when you actually do win. And then, yes, I'm going on a rant. First one of the evening. Then the whole situation with Gaza. I'm like, if this doesn't make people see, if you look at Kamala Harris and how she poorly ran her campaign, don't run as a change candidate. And then when they ask you what you're going to change, you say nothing. Girl, bye. I got time for you. I don't have time for you. You didn't make the distinction. The blue, no, vote blue no matter who, Kool-Aid drinkers were all like, well, it's you that voted for Trump. No, I voted for Dr. Cornel West because Dr. Cornel West stands in support of the Palestinian people. That's why I voted for him.
Well, let's keep in mind that when the Democrats were in power, when the torch got passed from Biden to Harris, she immediately went out there and said, I am pro-war. I am more pro-war than anybody could possibly be. I am pro-war. It literally drove people to vote Republican that have never voted Republican because they thought, I don't know why, but they thought that Trump was telling the truth when he actually said that he was going to end the war in Ukraine and that he was going to end the slaughter in Gaza. And obviously he's done neither.
And that's the thing. Oh, go ahead, Paris. I'm sorry.
I was just going to comment that I have a different take on Kamala Harris's run as the Democratic nominee. And Tracy, I've shared this with you before on your podcast. We live in a country where we have historical precedents. If past is prologue, all we have to do is just look and read what has happened. Don't remain ahistorical in the moment of 2024, right? I mean, it would be different if Kamala Harris had run unopposed. Yes, her record on Gaza and as California Attorney General, it would be despicable and indefensible. But the fact is, she did face opposition. Her opponent was Donald Trump. When you look at those two side by side, there should have never been a contest.
That's
Even on, let me finish, even
yes.
on the stage, right? When they debated, she ran circles around him. He's talking about people eating dogs. Despite the evidence, it was refuted even by public officials. And when he was asked, how does he know? He saw it on television. That is disturbing. What that goes to say, the bar for Kamala Harris was so high. And as Dr. West says, and Tracy, I'll say it again and again and again, race is the most intractable issue in this country. It almost tore this country apart in the 19th century, and it stands to do it again. She didn't have a chance because she looked like us.
I
Whether
disagree.
you want to say she's black or she's not black, her dad didn't come from America, doesn't make any difference. When you see her, she's highly identifiable. She looks black. So again, throw out all the other commentaries and just see historically who we have been as a country. And it's easy to conclude it doesn't make any difference what kind of campaign she would have run, if she would have had more time, if she would have spoke out against, which she did kind of hedge. You know what she said initially about the war, she did kind of hedge about, I want to have some kind of peace treaty in the Middle East. However, it didn't make a difference. If she would have come out and said, I do not stand with Israel, what do you think would have happened?
All that APEC money would have been gone.
Exactly. She wouldn't have had a chance even if she was in opposition. The bottom line is this country is what it is. And if we don't see it for what it is, we'll never be able to address, we'll never be able to overcome. We have to see it first. We have to accept when you go into the doctor, they have to make a diagnosis first before they can treat you. If you have any kind of ailment, we have an ailment, but we don't want to accept the diagnosis. We refuse to see what this country is, what it has been from its foundation. It's written in the foundational doctrines and documents of this country. When Tracy and I were just 2/3 of a human being.
Three.
I'm sorry, yeah, 3/5 of a human being. I don't
Yeah,
know what.
3/5.
3/5 of a human
Yeah, you
being.
giving us more. I'm like, I thought it
And
was 3/5.
Timothy, you didn't matter either because you weren't an elitist. You weren't a wealthy landowner. Women, you didn't meet the standard either. You were also uh, uh, not included in the government, not included in the politics, not included in the economy that was this country, and it has not changed since 1776. Have we seen some some improvements on that continuum? Well, yes, but what has happened just since 2024, 2025? Those small incremental progressions have been taken back with sweeping executive orders, affirmative action, voting rights, civil rights, women's rights, gay, homosexual, LGBTQ rights. They have been removed and systematically deconstructed just in 6 months that he's been in office. This
Yes.
country is exactly what it said it was going to be the whole time. And as Maya Angelou said, and I'll turn it over. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. Believe them. Go ahead, Tracy.
The unfortunate thing is that each and every one of those rollbacks were things that could have been codified into law for permanence,
I
That's
agree.
were
my point.
not. The
Thank you.
Democrats
We
had the
absolutely,
opportunity to do it,
we are in
and they
agreement.
chose not to.
We are in agreement. Cinema and Mansion, right? They allow them
No,
to dictate, right, to the leaders unopposed.
no, they were plants, and I'll tell you why they were plants.
I'm
If
okay with
if
your
you
statement.
are the president of the United States, I don't care if you're Trump, I don't care if you're Dan Quayle, me, you, anybody, you have a power. You know what you want to get passed. I'm going to use the $15 minimum wage as the my launch point.
Mhm.
We all know $15 an hour is not enough to live.
It's not a livable wage.
It's pennies. You cannot live off of $15 an hour. You really can't live off of 750, 725, whatever. When Joe Biden, you knew every Republican was going to vote against it because they're Republicans. They're going to be them. When you have 8 Democrats, your job as the president, if you really wanted this to pass, you call them to the carpet. Joe
Mhm.
Manchin. Biden appointed Joe Manchin's wife to a post. Me being president, I'd be like, your wife is getting removed. Why? Because you didn't vote the way I wanted you to. You gotta be LBJ. Did LBJ drop a bunch of N bombs? Probably. But you know what he did? He signed the Civil Rights Act and he signed the Voters' Rights Act. Those
Affirmative
two,
action,
yes.
fair housing, and he appointed Thurgood Marshall.
And he thank you because he knew how to take a stick and he knew how to use the bully pulpit. That's what makes me mad about the Democratic Party. There are tools in place that will allow them to stop Trump's stupidity. They won't exercise them. And then people tell, oh, well, you should just vote for him anyway. No, I'm not. When you don't use what you have, you want to fail. You're telling me you want to fail. So if I'm a regular voter that doesn't know that they're the same, because there are literally people telling me that they're not the same, I'm like, what country are you living in? But if I don't know, I literally had somebody tell me that they voted for Trump because he gave a $1,200 stimulus check. I was like, are you serious? You know he's going to, and this was a black person. I was like, look, is the economy terrible? Yes, it was terrible under Joe Biden. It's terrible. It's worse now, right? But I think what happens is the media plays a part in this. The billionaire class plays a part in this. Trump isn't the problem. I know Trump is a problem, but Trump isn't the problem. Trump is a system. Trump is a symptom of the problem. It's the billionaire class. That's the problem. Trump is just a puppet that they just pull the strings and they tell him what he's gonna do. That man don't have no thoughts. That man has no thoughts. He incoherently, in one sentence, he said there were Epstein files, and then in the very next sentence, he said there were. Make up your mind. He's literally he's not the policies that he wants. He didn't come up with Project 2025. That was the Heritage Foundation with the billionaire class that also gave you the Affordable Care Act. Just, let's just keep it real.
It's pretty clear though that when Biden sat between Trump's two terms, he didn't try to move policy backwards to the left. So if everything shifted to the right with Trump, it would have made sense for the Democrats to shift everything back to the left, as if we had a pendulum swinging back and forth. That's what they try to portray. But since they're not letting things move back to the left, they're actually working in concert to move things to the right, then stop, then move things to the right, then stop. That's what's been happening for some time now. We haven't moved any progressive policies in quite a few years.
It's been almost, let's see, I'll be 52 in January. I can't name anything in my lifetime that has really made an impact. I'm just sitting here like, well, there was no, it wasn't that. The Affordable Care Act is garbage, 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 garbage. I can't think, like, the generation before me, the baby boomers, and before them, the generation before the baby boomers had Social Security.
Hmm.
That was something big. Then the baby boomers had Medicare, no, Medicaid.
They had the Environmental Protection Act. They had the Clean Air, Clean Water Act. They had so all the environmental laws. They had the Voting Rights Act. Um, those are the main ones I'm thinking of, but they had
Right.
significant progress.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. When you are in power, this is what made me say I'm done. When you are in power and you have the House, you have the Senate, and you have the White House. That's the best time to make changes.
Hmm.
That's the best time to move policies, not just to the left, because if you think about what people to the left want, it's not like we're out here saying, yeah, let's sell camelbacks. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to just sell camels. No, we're saying things like a living wage, a guaranteed housing, guaranteed jobs. We're not saying anything that's like so out there that people would think, well, that's just the craziest thing that I think of.
And
Most
you
of the
know what?
policies that are being pushed forward by the so-called left are just middle of
Common
the road,
sense. Yeah, it's
normal
middle of the road.
policies that are currently in practice by nations throughout the world, from Europe to Asia and even Africa. Now we're seeing these are the policies that are being adopted by everyone. That's what people want. That's what governments are created to do, and we are not being served properly.
And you know what made Biden's term more egregious? He not only had the House, he not only had the Senate. Of course, the Supreme Court had somewhat been gerrymandered by Trump, but he also had momentum because John Lewis just passed away. And he had the opportunity to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. George Floyd was still in the news. He had an opportunity to introduce the Criminal Reformation Act. He did none of those. He totally bowed out and allowed these two, Trace, you call them plants, regardless of what they were, he allowed them to impact the entire party, which impacted the entire country. So, yes, we didn't progress any further under his administration. I mean, there are some wins, but compared to what this country needed at the time, because of how far right the Trump administration had taken us, how far right the Nixon administration had taken us, how far right the Reagan administration had taken us, how far right even the Clinton administration took us. We had lost ground and we had an opportunity to make some of that up during his term, and he failed the test.
And that's where I think the Justice for All Party comes in, right? We see this is a very unique time that I'm seeing, and I hope we don't let this pass by. I have never seen where Democrat voters are frustrated with Democratic leadership and where Republican voters are frustrated with Republican voters. And I think that's an opening. And what I want to see is us get in and say, hey, look, they never gonna do nothing for you. Stop. I'm trying not to talk because y'all know I lost my front two teeth, so I'm like doing this all the time. Um, don't let them play in your face. Stop
Tracy, what's the definition of insanity?
doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
All right. And I think another thing we need to do is differentiate what is a socialist Democrat, which is tied inextricably to the Democratic Party, as opposed to a Democratic socialist. That's who we are. We want transformation. We're transformative. We want radical change. What they want to do is reform the party. And how did that work in 2016? You talked about Bernie Sanders and what they did to him at the National Convention. In 2020, how they were able to coordinate efforts along with Claiborne down south, and they stole the election from him then, and that allowed Biden to win. And in 2024, they acquiesced, they capitulated, even before the primaries, or even before the primaries. They had already raised their hand and voted for and put their hats in for Biden. They didn't even fight. They were totally complicit to what was going on in a do nothing Democratic elected presidential term.
I think that one of the things that we need to do once we start doing community engagement is asking people, did you get what you wanted? Did you get what you wanted? Did when you went Now I don't know what we do about the people that stay on the couch because I still haven't quite figured that out yet. But I'm talking about the people who voted. Did you get what you voted for? If that answer is no, you need to be coming to the Justice for All party.
I think we can ask the people on the couch the same thing. I recognize you stayed home because you weren't happy with people that want war, whether they wear red or blue, they all want war, or whatever your reasoning might be.
How's that working for you?
How did it work for you when you stayed at home? Did you get who you wanted? Because I don't think you did.
Mass deportations,
If
people losing their jobs. I mean, en masse, people losing their jobs, their insurance, Medicaid, Medicare. Now we have these tariffs that are threatening again the economy, right?
But parents, keep this in mind. Biden also kicked people off of Medicaid.
Oh, I have no qualms about about
Both parties together. I think I was reading a study, right, that said that 42 million people between Trump and Biden lost Medicaid.
However, it's going to be more devastating under.
Oh, it's worse under Trump.
Yeah.
What
it's going to be more devastating.
Yeah, because when you brought that up, this frustrates me. Now you got Al Green, and I keep thinking the singer, but Congressman Al Green, like crying. I'm like, dude, where were you at when Biden was making the same cuts? Where were you at? You want? Oh, it's just I'm so.
They do not speak up when they're in power about things that are not getting done.
That's it.
And again, what we need to do is analyze and critique that particular behavior. Why? And I think most of their analysis, even against the Republican Party, is performative. Someone said earlier on this podcast, they really don't want change. They're just as complicit to what's going on in this country. If that wasn't the truth, we wouldn't be here today. If there was true, right, diatribe between the parties, if there was truly a difference between the both of them, then we would know that, because there would be efforts, there would be behaviors, there would be policy. Policy is what's the most important piece of all of this, right? We can talk a big game, but does our policies back it up? Right? Because that's where real change takes place. When we look at the root word or the etymology of policy, it talks about the people. Have the people been affected positively or negatively, right? And that's how you ultimately measure what a party is doing and their efforts, and whether or not they're truly for, and by the people, as Lincoln said in his Gettysburg Address, or they're just there getting more money.
Yep. And Tim, I'm going to ask you, well, both of you, to comment on this one. But Bernie knew that they were going to go with Biden, which he did. Yet Bernie still called Biden his good friend. Bernie just kept going to get his boost to his position by Biden.
I mean, it was pretty straightforward this time around when Bernie just sat out and didn't even try to participate. The fact that he didn't participate after 16 and 20 runs suggests it was pretty obvious the Democratic Party had decided they couldn't have him out there drumming up support from student body people and that kind of thing, that it was likely to be anti-war protesters that were the people that otherwise would have been his base. And yet he was not anti-war. He was absolutely pro-Israel and has been since he was a youth, and he spent time in Israel. And he talks about the time that he spent there as if it was some peace, love, and happiness commune. But that's simply not the case. That was specifically exported as a story that was told by the Zionist community in the 70s and 80s. I remember my fellow classmates at Boston University that all talked about, oh yeah, peace, love, and happiness, hippie, whatever. It's not remotely what we've seen from video about how the students and young people are being taught about their neighbors in that region of the world. The other interesting thing about all of Congress is if you look at the common denominator, regardless of parties, of which is the most likely country that people have visited or vacationed outside the US. I would put everything I own on Israel being that country. Over Canada, over Mexico, over any other country, Israel is the most visited by our federal representatives. That's
And,
ridiculous.
yeah, and you know why I agree with that statement? Because if you watch the New York mayor's debate between
Exactly.
Mandami, the reporter literally asked, "Would you visit Israel?" And say what you want about Mandami, because I'm still like, dude, when you gonna start talking about black people? But I don't have any skin in the game. I'm in Indianapolis. But he said something that was so profound. He's like, I'm gonna be the mayor of New York City. Why would I go way over that kind of Zionism? It's so entrenched in our media. It's so entrenched. It's like it's seeped, right? It's seeped in the way that they ask questions. And I'm like, why would you ask if they're gonna visit Israel? They're in New York City.
And it was done at the debate. So
Yes.
the other candidates said Israel, Israel, and it got to him, and he said, I'm not. He said, I'm going to visit the Jewish community here in New York City. They're my constituents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how dare he?
they tried to draw a contrast between him and the other candidates and make him seem like he was an extremist. He
Yes.
was antithetical to the Jewish state, which we all should be, especially the Zionist state, not Jews in general. We love and embrace them, but the Zionists, even Jews, are against the Zionist state. So when you look at what was really at stake and why they do that, you both sound like you're familiar with Christianity, and this country has become extremely Christo-fascist. So it makes absolute sense why they insist on Israel being in Palestine, because that's the revelation of the Bible. That's where Israel has to be in order for the great conflagration or end times to take place. So again, no evidence to that fact.
Mm-mm.
There's nothing evidentiary about it. It's a dogma, and we understand how critical and dangerous dogma is when you hold on to something without having facts or truth or evidentiary proof. You're dangerous, and that's exactly what we've become as a country, more so today than ever before.
And then gonna put
It's,
Jesus' name on it. Like he all like, yeah, kill him. No. But
Israel was a name change in the Old Testament for Jacob.
exactly.
Jacob's name was changed to Israel. It
I think
wasn't the
I've
land, it was
yep,
the person,
Pearson.
and it was the person's It was his family.
And even politically, we have to understand what Zionism is. It has nothing to really do with their
Judaism,
faith and their religion. It's
nothing.
who they are as a political people, right? And we understand what happened in '48, how they came to Palestine, and how they were able to gain that land, right? They took it. They took
Well,
that land from people who lived there at the time, and they've been taking more and more and more of it, and it's only accelerated in the last year.
and we can see that that colonial model is very much how the U.S. was formed, and they followed the same model that the United States formed in taking land away from the indigenous populations here, in that they're taking land away from the indigenous populations there,
Yep.
and they're pretending that they're coming in a friendly manner, the same way that we celebrate Thanksgiving every year, as if it was entirely friendly how we dealt with the indigenous population here.
Yeah. And with that, Timothy, I think you strike a chord with what we're saying as a whole, not only in America, but every country except except Ethiopia in Africa, the entire continent, India, Japan, parts of China. They ruled China via Japan through the Manchurian Candidate, all over the world, right? They've done the same thing over and over and over again. There's a saying: when they came with the Bible, we had the land. Before we knew it, we had the Bible and they had the land. That's true of indigenous people pretty much all over the world wherever Christianity is introduced.
That's bad Christianity. Don't put that on us. Don't.
I'm just
No.
calling a spade, Tracy.
Jesus said a tree is known by the fruit it bears. No. I don't care. You,
Not everyone who says Lord, Lord, right?
Lord, thank you. Don't put that mess on. No, them some people didn't go to vacation Bible school.
I don't
But
have a
that,
problem with it because it's the same way that we can see the difference between Zionists and Jews, that they're
right,
not the same,
right.
that
Yeah,
one
them
is
some
truly practicing a loving religion and one is white supremacist.
Exactly.
exactly. That's true. Because if you think about it, when I think about why it is that I said, you know what, I'm not voting for Democrats anymore. Because I only voted Republican 3 times in my whole entire life. Mayor and senator. I voted for Mayor Ballard. That was mayor before Hogsett. And I voted for Richard Lugar, which should really tell you how old I really am. Um, those are the I voted for. Uh, like I said, I voted for mayor twice and senator once. So that's 3 times I voted Republican in my entire life. So I'm just not a Republican voter. But Democrats, how did I get fooled? That's what I think about. I think about um how the, let me rephrase my question. How does the media frame our mind with such propaganda that we will literally tell people, hey, if you vote for West, you're really voting for Trump? No, you're voting for West.
We've gotten so programmed to think that everything is a zero sum game between a competition between two parties. And I wish I had a different term than parties, or two teams. We watch football and you vote for my team or you vote for your team. There's two teams that are on the field. Basketball, hockey, baseball, all the same
Now,
thing.
you
We
know
use
there's
the
really
same
only one
two
sport,
teams.
right? You know there's only one sport.
Well, Tracy's
I
going to
get
start
that.
something, Timothy.
And we realize God's team is out there just north of you to the northwest.
She's going to start something. Go ahead, Tracy.
It's
Finish
all
your
right.
clean
The green
thought.
and gold knows where it's at.
You talking about the gold and red, the crimson and the gold?
No, no. We're talking about America's team up there in the Dairyland.
No, I'm talking about America's team in Santa Madre, because that's where they play now. They don't play in San Francisco anymore.
Is it Levi Stadium or something
Stadium,
like
yeah, but it's not in San Francisco. But it's only one sport. Don't fool yourselves. Don't be out here. It's a lot of sport. And Ashton made a good point last week, or the week before when he was on. And I was asking him, what keeps people? We know we're going to have a forum for people that want to run for office, right? And some of us are hesitant because we think, oh, it takes so much and the odds are so stacked against us.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, just because, and he used a football analogy, so he knew he had me. It's like there's 32 teams. Do the rest of the teams stop taking the field because this one team is the best team? I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. And that's what I really want to get to people out there. Don't stop organizing. Don't stop fighting just because we have this terrible two-party system. Really, we have one-party system, right?
It's not
Because
just Philly and KC. It's 32 teams.
it's 32 teams total. You got the NFC team, the Philadelphia Eagles that won the NFC championship, went on to win the Super Bowl. Just because they won the Super Bowl doesn't mean we're not practicing no more. We're not gonna prepare anymore. We're not gonna do anything. Well, they gonna win. No, you can't do that. You have to get in the game. And that's why I want to do these discussions, because I think it's time for us to tell people get in the game. Because sitting by the sidelines, that's just not going to work anymore.
Plus, I think we learned, again, just by observation, if you go back and you critically analyze history, you'll know that the system is incapable of change. Audre Lorde said, the master's tools will not destroy the master's house. It is impossible. It's antithetical to what they were designed for. So, in order for us to overcome it, we have to confront it. And we have to make sure we're mobilized and there's solidarity behind it. We can't just do it haphazardly. That's the power of the civil rights movement. They met, they strategized before they went and they executed the tactical plans. When Rosa Parks sat on that bus, it was already determined that she was going to be the one because of how she looked, because of her stature, and because of her commitment. So the decision was already made before it was executed.
You mean
And
her feet weren't tired and she had a long day at work?
She was not even the first person to sit
She
in the front of the bus.
she really was not.
and as a matter of fact, if you go back to Ida B. Wells Burnett, remember she was thrown from a train because she refused to move her seat. So that was long before Rosa Parks. So yeah, there was precedence before that. However, the movement made a decision. They decided she was the one, she was going to be the face, and it worked perfectly. So we need to make sure that we're coalescing our efforts and we're not just running out there haphazardly. Yeah, I'm going to protest this. We're all protesting that. Because Tracy, the last time I was on your show, we were talking about what's going on in our community and the protest we have about not joining other protests because we're sitting this one out. And my question then, and it still remains, who made that decision?
TikTok.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I'm literally saying TikTok because that's where this whole thing started.
Right. And how reliable and confident am I in any TikTok influencer?
No, I mean, that's where it grew from. You get one little video, then somebody else does one, then somebody else does one, and then somebody else does one.
Now, the great thing, historically speaking, is that the last time that a third party overtook the major parties was the Abolitionist Party in 1960, or 1860 rather.
18.
The Grand Old Party, the Republican Party, they were the abolitionists. And if you listen to people talk about Justice for All Party. We are the abolitionists.
Because it used to be the Whig and the Democratic Party, and now it's the Republican and Democratic Party.
You mean the Demopubs? That's what I call. I'm just like, you know what? Y'all the Demopubs now. You know what I want to talk about, and I did not mean to keep you guys this long, but I do want to talk about my frustration with how much money these two parties are raising. I think about all the things that could have been done. Let's see. The Harris campaign raised $2 billion. The Trump campaign raised what? $809 million. You know how many hospitals that could have built? How much food? How much housing? How many job training programs could have been did?
That goes to show you that they may not have actually wanted to win because of the way that they were spending their money.
You mean
Historically
Beyonce
speaking,
coming in wasn't good enough? I mean, she paid Roland Martin that 300. Shut up, Tracy. Shut up. Shut up. Shut
you're
up.
giving all my examples. I appreciate it. That's exactly it. Historically speaking, money has always been utilized in getting out the vote. You put money towards workers who are on the streets, knocking on doors, picking people up from their senior centers, and all that. The more money is getting out to the grassroots workers that are supporting it, the more votes you get. The one person you paid might have 5 people in their family that are all voting for you. When you didn't bother to pay that one person to go out there and knock on some doors, the 5 other people in their family all sat home. Now you had 6 people you lost out on.
And I think that's something that the Justice for All Party needs to start concentrating on because 2026 is almost here, guys.
Yeah,
This is
and
like August. You got August, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. The primaries are 8 months away. 8 months away.
yeah, I wanted to address the amount of money being spent. We can't be blind to the idea that Citizens United opened up a Pandora's box.
It did.
Since then, we have more millionaires, more. We have more multimillionaires. We have more billionaires and multi-billionaires.
And
So,
a man, yep. And Elon Musk is going to be a trillionaire.
right, I doubt that. Anyway, um, but I understand your point. Your point is well taken. We have to understand that their money, based on Citizens United, has become personhood, and it represents far more than we as individuals could ever do. That's why we have to approach this collectively. And let me give you some quick numbers. Cost to subsidize certain necessities. To eradicate homelessness, $53 billion is what it would take. To eradicate hunger, $25 billion. Free university, $80 billion. Total of $158 billion. When you think about what we send to Israel alone, $250 billion. And guess what? Israel has free health care and affordable public university.
No, they have free.
It's affordable. It's like 2,700 to
I
4,000.
thought it was free.
Yeah, it's $16,000 for a 4-year. But when you compare to that, we can't even go to college for $16,000 a year, even public local colleges. So yeah, we subsidize this monster, and they're affording their people free health care and university.
Here's how I'm gonna slightly disagree with you. I get that Citizens United did that, but as a candidate, you don't have to accept PAC money. You can literally put on your website, "Hey, I'm not
It's not
taking
about
any."
accepting PAC money. It's about understanding the power of what the Bible calls filthy lucre or cupidity or planexia. We have to understand that's the monster that we're fighting against. If we don't name it, we can never fight it. We have to know what we're up against. That's why I believe mobilization on the ground, Once we get enough people mobilized, we can overcome. And that's what I was saying. It's going to take solidarity. It's going to take effort. It's going to be a coalescing. It's going to be training. We need training. And that's what we're working on in the Justice for All Party. We're working on training programs, right? So that way people can understand, okay, what is the Justice for All Party and what do you stand for? What does the moniker truth, justice, and love mean? How does that work in a practical and a pragmatic way? Those are the things that we want to help people understand. And that's why we want to attract and then proselytize others to our party, because we understand and we believe that we have the ailment, or we have the panacea to the ailment that has stricken this country.
And Penny, I want to make a thank you for checking in. I'm so glad you mentioned Columbus, Ohio, because I want you to watch next week. I will not say anything, but I want you to watch next week, because that city you just named is going to play a big, 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 big part about the announcement that we're going to drop. Telling you, I want to tell it so bad. I just want to just go, but I said, yeah, I'm going to keep it quiet. August the 9th, be here. But I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned Columbus, Ohio. Just really glad. But I think for me, it's like when I hear the Democratic Party, like when Elon and Trump were having their little spat, which I still think is staged. Um,
Kabuki theater.
when you hear Ro Khanna say maybe we could get him back in our, why would you want Elon Musk back? Why would you want him in your fold? The man literally led Doge and wants to trim government waste. Now, notice he didn't cut any of his contracts. He didn't touch any of those. He wants to cut government waste by cutting jobs. Oh, and then you found out, oh, we actually need these jobs. We actually need people to do. Why would you want Elon Musk? Why? Why does it? Why do y'all do stupid stuff? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Justice for All Party, we can't do stupid stuff like this.
And Tracy, you said that he didn't fire any of his own. As a matter of fact, he went after with surgical like precision
Mm-hmm.
those who imposed and were obstructing his ability to do what he wanted to do.
Right.
Think about some of the things that he did. He was very thoughtful. He was very laser like in his attack. And for those of you who are out there hoping and wishing that the Democratic Party will come to their senses and they will make a difference, to those who, for some reason, still hold on hope that the Republican Party can be salvaged, just understand, as far as I'm concerned, that's a quixotic pursuit. It's overly impractical because history has proven otherwise. They're
And
going
the
to they're going
yeah,
to continue to do what they've always done. As a matter of fact, we're more extreme today, to the point to where we can actually use the word of dystopian America. That's a term we can use today. We are dystopic.
yep.
People are
And
suffering. Go ahead, Tracy.
in the words of Cornel West, get off the crack pipe.
Get off the crack. That's just plain English. And I don't like that terminology, crack pipe.
That's
What
what
about
Dr. West
the opioid?
said.
What about the opioid pipe, right?
But Doctor, I'm making a direct quote.
I,
Dr.
I
West,
understand. I understand. But to me, that
The
just,
CIA brought it in. I'm okay with it.
yep, they sure did. And put it in black communities. They're gonna put us.
however, when you think about crack, you don't think CIA. You think about African American community.
Right.
And
Which
that's
is exactly
unfortunate.
where they brought it into.
That's exactly where they brought it
You're
into.
right. You're right. It's
So yep,
unfortunate.
in the words of Cornel West, get off the crack pipe.
Yeah, get off the opioid pipe,
Yeah. See, he
because
gonna
that's
say
also
opioid.
problematic.
But yes, because y'all smoking stuff that I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Because I don't know what it is you smoking. I don't want no parts of it. I don't want no parts of it.
Yeah.
I do have one last question. So we've had a really good discussion. I'm gonna keep going because I want to discuss one more thing. Would you two be open coming the first week of each month for me to discuss certain subjects?
Yeah, I love the idea.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I'm open
I think it's one of the
to
things that we don't have the opportunity to do enough of with Justice for All
participation.
Party is to focus on one particular issue area or another to give us an idea of what we're doing. We currently have been kind of accepting of Dr. West and Dr. Abdullah's platform as is, but it's large. My expectation is it will probably be edited between now and 2026. Um, so it's a little hard to say, do you believe in every one of these points? It's more, do you believe in these general concepts? And I think that's something that we can all generally agree on.
Yeah, because I'm definitely thinking about looking at that platform. I haven't decided which subject just yet, because, like I said, but I think this is a good idea to expand and explore with people who may watch this podcast. Hey, we can talk about the issues because so many times I get accused of just, okay, I'm pointing at the Democrats and I want to start pointing back at me and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to do. So I'm glad you guys are open to that. Um,
Hey,
I
Tracy, real quick, I wanted to comment on a couple things. I forgot the first thing, but the second thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah. Remember, I floated the idea that not only Timothy and I, but I think several people from the Justice for All National Committee should be on your podcast so we can have these dynamic conversations.
I 100% agree. I have no opposition to that because after all, this is the unofficial, official, unofficial podcast of the Justice for All Party.
Plus, people will be able to, again, see firsthand that we may not agree on everything, but we're not disagreeable. And we are solidarity about certain things, and that's truth, justice, and love, not for some, but for everyone.
Um, I here's what I want to say last. Lastly, I want to say here's what I want people to remember, especially when a new party is being formed. There are so, and this is what I've learned. I always ask my guests, what did you learn about being on the National Justice for All Committee that you didn't know about yourself before? Since you two have already answered it, I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to tell you what I've learned. Anybody that knows me knows I have no patience. I want stuff to move yesterday. I want it yesterday. I don't got time. I want it and I want it right now. I have been taught to think more strategically, especially being on the convention committee. How we had to think, okay, this is our purpose. This is what we're going to do. This is when we're going to do it. If this doesn't work, do this. If that doesn't work, do that. I just always, I never thought that planning a Medicare for All march 3 years ago would lead me to this point. I literally started out planning a Medicare for All march and then thinking, I'm not going to support any candidate that does not support Medicare for All. It's just not going to happen. And me looking for a candidate for president that would fit that, which, of course, Dr. West wants beyond Medicare for All, and I certainly agree with that. But what I'm getting at is you never know what something will lead to, right? We all came to this point different ways. I came from it planning a statewide march that had 100 people at it. I didn't think it was successful, but people still come up to me. I went and I thought it was great. I'm like, really? You never know. And so you never know that effort until you make the effort, right? We want people to make the effort with us, walk this journey with us. We don't take political money, right? We take political money, but we don't take special interest money. We don't take PAC money. Nobody's buying us. We're all giving it our best, right?
Grassroots, yes.
Yes, we are working this at the grassroots. And if you want to be a part of that, reach out. If there's no Justice for All party in your state, start one. If it's
If
just you, start one.
if you like the platform, why don't you run with us? Be one of our candidates. Let us support you.
And Tracy, do you want to give information about our next meeting? So if they're interested, they're more than welcome to join us.
See, you the national chair, so I'll let you do that. Cause see, I don't want to put the whole Zoom link in there because it's not gonna fit.
Just know that we meet as a national committee every fourth Saturday of the month, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. You're more than welcome to become a member, an observer, someone who can come and ask questions. If you're interested, as Tim said, in running for office under our umbrella, we'll be glad to support you. Think about that because we do want candidates, we do want people running in their local jurisdictions. And if you want to just know what it is to be a part of something that's different, that is antithetical to the duopoly, right? If you feel Sisyphean, that every day you roll that mountain up the hill, and right when you think you've got it figured out, you got to start all over again, and it just perpetuates itself all the time. It's a vicious cycle. If you're tired, you're more than welcome to come and be a part of what we're doing here.
And Paris, would you be comfortable giving out an email address where they could contact you for more information? Type it in the thing, and I can show it.
Okay, I'll be glad to type it in. I'll tell you what it is and I'll type it in. It is Cornell West, spelled Cornell West, for the number four, not the word for president. Cornell West for president at outlook.com.
Yep. Because I was like, I can't put the whole StreamYard address. I can't put the whole Zoom link in there. I don't see it. You must have put it in the private chat.
Yeah, I've got to get in first. So hold on. I'm
Yep.
using the
So
account.
that's what we really want. We really want people to be a part of this. And I think that I've learned so much. I've learned patience. And I literally don't like being, like I said, I want it yesterday. I want Cornell West to be president yesterday. That's what I want. Now, some people think I may be smoking something. I don't smoke anything. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't. I don't do any of that stuff, right? But there's something in me that believes that we deserve better. We deserve better than what we are getting. Um, Let me put it in there because I don't see it.
I remember growing up, and I feel like there was a lot more positivity in this country than there is now. And people
Yep.
believed that they could achieve something if they just worked hard and tried hard in a way that I don't think they have that misconception anymore. And I'd like to change that.
And another thing that goes along with that, each generation did better than the one before it. That was always the hope. Your parents established a foundation, right? You use that foundation to propel yourself to greater opportunities, and you did the same thing for your children. That is no longer the case. Okay, Tracy, I was going to put it in there, but I see what you did it already. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm like, is he going? Told you I ain't got no patience. So, I'm like,
As we live and breathe, ladies and gentlemen.
um, here's a question. Now, y'all know, I'm gonna tell y'all, be honest. I got some misgivings about Sharma Sawant. I do. I do. I do. But we go put him aside. I'm just gonna read Nelson's question. So Sharma Sawant is running for Senate in Seattle. I think it's Congress. Has anyone approached her about doing so under the Justice for All party? I know the answer to that question, but I'm gonna let Paris answer.
I don't know the answer to that. I was going to have that local representation reach out uh, to the individual, but I don't know. Do you know the answer?
I was gonna say I don't think we have.
I
I
don't
know
know.
it's
I can't
I
say
know
for
it's been
sure.
suggested to our people who are in Seattle. Whether or not it's actually happened as of yet, I do not know.
Yeah, that's it. That's because I was like, what state is she in? What state is she in? What state is she in?
Right. And as chair, one thing I will do is I will reach out personally to our contingent in Seattle and make sure they know who this individual is. If they
They
don't,
know her.
They
okay,
know her.
Oh yeah, everybody know her. Like
that
everybody knows.
there is conversation about running for Justice for All Party candidate.
Because to be honest, I literally thought she was Green Party. That's what I thought. I'm
No,
like,
she has her own socialist network, and to the best of my knowledge, they may not be interested in working with others, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't ask.
You're absolutely right.
right, because there
Doesn't,
could be
doesn't
other
prohibit
people.
us. Doesn't prohibit us from reaching out,
Yep, because the worst thing that could happen, they could say no. Or they may say, hey, I don't not interested, but such and such person is interested.
or they may say yes.
And while all the panelists here tonight may not think she's wonderful, I think she would make an absolutely wonderful justice for all.
Yeah, I said I had misgivings. I didn't say I didn't love her because my faith teaches me I'm to love everybody. Yes, that includes Donald Trump. I just have some reservations.
About her or Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, Trump, we could do a whole nother hour. Come on. The
No,
man literally
no reservations.
the man literally said of his daughter, she has her mother's legs. I don't know about her breasts.
And she was just a baby at the time. She was
Baby.
an
A
infant.
baby.
She was an infant.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he said about his other daughter, right?
If she were my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Mm.
That the
You
thing they have in common is sex. He said that publicly.
his child. His child. And y'all said, okay. You couldn't vote for Cornel West, who has stood with Palestine, who has stood with Black Americans. But you thought, hey, let's give this orange faced man that said he wanted to date his daughter. Oh, America. Come on, we can do better. We can do better than what we're doing. That was rant number what 3? I've had 3 rants in this. I'm just like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Um, I like this one. Penny said she agrees with Timothy, and then she also said Paris is about to break into song.
I
But
always, I always have a song in my heart.
yeah, but don't sing because that you say that for the 30th. Um, guys,
Save it for the 30th if you want to sing.
that's right.
Publicly,
Um,
yes. I sing regardless, but publicly is what you're inviting.
yes, because some of us we know we can't sing, but like that's gonna stop me. That's just a little thing. Oh well, hey, it's a lot of singers that sing and make millions and say I know I can sing better than them. No,
I
I can't.
agree. I agree.
Um, but here's the very very last question. And again, I'm way past time, so again, apologize for that. But this question I will always ask, and I want y'all to listen to this. If you could tell people one reason, this many, about why they should either look at the Justice for All party or leave the duopoly, what would it be?
If you have only one reason, the one reason is if you're going to care about politics at all, then you should care about a party that actually wants to move us forward in time, as government is supposed to, rather than being regressive. And that's what I'm seeing from the duopoly.
And I would respond with Fannie Lou Hamer's famous quote: "If you're tired of being sick and tired of the same routine, the same dog and pony show," and like Tracy said when she defined the definition of insanity, that's something we don't want to perpetuate anymore. If you want to see real change, people who I've worked with for 7, 8 months now, who I can say without equivocation, they all have their hearts in the right place. They have experience that I didn't come to the table with. They've helped me round out my competencies when it comes to a political party, but they're all sincere. Just like Dr. West, who was the head of the ticket, a man of integrity. I believe the people I work with on a regular basis are people of integrity. If you're tired of being sick and tired, join us.
And we don't get tired of seeing each other. We can go from, I think there was one day Tim was on like 3 of my podcasts, like on the same day. I'm like, are you tired of seeing me? Like, and the answer was no. And I want to encourage people. I want to encourage people to contact parents. Because that's why I asked, could I put your email in here? Because we can't do this by ourselves. We need solidarity now, not solidarity tomorrow, not solidarity next year, not solidarity in 2028. Solidarity now, right now. If you believe in justice, truth, justice, and love, hit us up, hit Paris up on that email. He'll probably email me and say, email him the link, and I'll be glad to do it. Um, again, before we go, y'all make sure if you've never watched Justice is Here podcast, one, tell 5 people about next week's podcast. I promise we've got some big, we've got an announcement so big, I can't even believe we're here, but it's because of the work that the volunteers have put in. The convention committee has worked hard. And we're going to talk about what we've done. I don't want this to be the end of committees coming on here and talking about what they're doing. Their work is important. Everybody's work is important. The car moves, but it can't move without wheels, and it needs a key, and it needs an engine, it needs a transmission, it needs a trunk, it needs seats. We are a unit. We are we're working together to destroy the duopoly. That's the goal, because as long as we're in the 2-party system, I call it the 1 party, we're just going to keep getting nothing. We're going to keep getting wars for no reason. We're going to keep getting people losing SNAP benefits. We've got to do something. So I will see you all next week. Oh no, let me backtrack that. I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow for Tracy's Weekend Review at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to tell 5 of your friends in general about the official, unofficial, official podcast. This is, I keep telling everybody, this is not the official podcast. It feels like it, but it's the official, unofficial, official podcast of the Justice for All Party. We want to get word about this party to everyone we possibly can. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'm going to let Nelson have the last word. Thank you, Paris, Timothy, and Tracy, for another great show this evening. No, thank you, Nelson. You're one of the real ones. You were here from the beginning. But we will see you all next. We will see you all for Justice for Here next Saturday. You'll see me tomorrow, 6:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Nelson, we appreciate your considering running for office under the Justice for All.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Because you, sir, I'm telling you, he says exactly like I'm thinking it, and he'll just say it. I'm like, yes, that's it.
Nelson, you have our vote.
You sure do. And I know he's in New York, because I know where you live, Nelson. I know where you live. I sent you a book. So I know where you live. I know pretty much where everybody lives at. So I'll just show up at your house. You can't show up at mine because I got problems with my house. But yeah, we know where you live, but consider it. Think about it. We don't want to put you in a position where you're like, we're forcing you, but we think you'd be really great, especially in New York. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will have a giveaway of a t-shirt tomorrow for Tracy Media. I will absolutely have a t-shirt contest giveaway tomorrow. I've been putting it off, but I will have a giveaway tomorrow. Be sure to tune in 6 o'clock p.m. I'm taking everybody down. Thank you. Remember to visit justiceforall.us. Justiceforall.us. One more time, justiceforall.us. Destroy the duopoly. Walk in truth, justice, and love. Thank you all for watching. Have a fantastic evening. And we're going to take everybody down and play our outro.